Hi everybody, my name is Jim and this is the Lake Effect Gardener. Today's episode is going to be an upcycle treat for all of you garbage pickers out there. Fun story. I'm driving along in the village, the village that I live in, and this time of year, a lot of people are starting to get all of their stuff cleaned out. They're starting to do home improvement projects. So that means to me that a lot of people are starting to discard things. They're starting to put things out at the curb, things that they don't want anymore, things that the garbage people are going to pick up and then eventually go into a dump. So I take that opportunity to just take a cursory little look and see what little treats and treasures that may be hanging out in there. So today I will be upcycling my obelisk. Yes, and if you saw my March tour from my last video, you could see that that obelisk was kind of worse for wear. It was ready to go. And then we had a bit of a wind event. You may have seen that. I posted it on my Facebook and Instagram not too long ago. We had some high gust winds coming in off the lake, gusts up to 60 miles an hour, and well, my obelisk didn't quite make it. I knew it was going to happen. I guess it was only a matter of time. So, I'm pleased that I found what I did, because even before that obelisk met its demise, I was hatching a plan to replace it. So, without further ado, I want to introduce you to the pick that I got from someone's garbage. It's a newel post. And for those people who don't know what a newel post is, this is the post that sits at the bottom of a staircase that, connects the banister, goes up the stairs. That's what this is. So it's beautiful. I mean, the scroll work on it is gorgeous. I mean, it's pretty simple in the way of newel posts. It's not anything very elaborate, but it did come out of an old home in the village. So I was happy to pick it up. And immediately I thought to myself, now that would make a really special looking obelisk. So it's solid oak, so fingers crossed it will weather the storms here. All right, so let's head into the garage and we're gonna get started on this. I just want to let you know that this is something that I've completely devised in my brain. I don't know if there are any plans out there online or anything of the same, but this is just, kind of sit and think. I've done a lot of sitting and a lot of thinking. So I'm going to do my best. I'm going to kind of wing it and see how it turns out. First thing I got to do though is, since we're going to be doing this in the garage, is I've got to get my adorable little Clementine out of the garage so I have room to work. So let's head in there right now. For all those wondering, I said it a million times, but that is a 1963 Chevrolet Corvair Monza 900 convertible, and she's the love of my life. So we're in the very messy garage. This is how my garage always looks at the beginning of the spring season. Just during the winter and fall months, I just kind of shove everything in here. So I've got my obelisk here, and the idea is that this area right here, this is going to be the top of the obelisk. And then I'm going to actually have this part running down the middle just to give it a little bit of a decorative look. Now, this is heavy oak. I probably don't want this much weight on the top of the obelisk, only because if it's a top-heavy obelisk, the tendency is going to be probably that it's going to want to tip over. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make a cut right here so that it's only this portion that's going to be at the top of the obelisk. Now this section here, I'm going to use, I'll probably make another one, honestly, because I don't know, it looks similar. It's not it's not going to be as tall as this, but it does have this scroll work here, and I don't want to get rid of any of it. I want to use every single bit of it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a cut right here. What I love about this little workbench that I have here is, well, first of all, you can completely collapse it to the ground. This was my grandfather's. And so you can collapse it and it becomes, you know, it's very storageable. I don't have a lot of storage space in here, so, you know, it's really, really convenient. The other thing I like about it is that you've got these little levers here that you can turn, and whatever you have placed in the middle will be clamped in place. So I'm just going to make sure this is nice and tight. Okay, and that's nice and secure. So here's where I'm going to make my cut. And instead of going all power tool on you, I'm going to be using just a plain old saw. And my grandfather always labeled all of his tools with his name. So this might take me a minute because this, like I said, this is solid oak. Oops. Great. So, let me just loosen this up a bit. You could see where I'm talking about how I have two possible, you know, obelisks that I can make now out of this, because they're pretty matching. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I want to create kind of a border up here using 2x2 lumber. Okay, basically what I'm going to have is, let's see, I'll just use these shims that I have here. So the idea is that it's going to wrap around like this, okay? And it's a 2x2 piece of lumber, so it's going to come out sort of like this. And then from each flat side of the newel post, I'm going to be having another piece of 2x2 running this way. So it's going to create 4 legs. Now the difficult part of this is going to make sure that I need to make sure that the angle in which the legs come down are all equal and they're all nice and flush. So, but first things first, there goes the door. First things first, I need to get rid of these nails. I'm going to miter pieces of wood to go on here. The next thing I want to do is I want to measure this kind of flat circle that we have here. I want to measure the width of this because this is eventually, this is where the, I'm going to put a mitered edge ridge around here using this 2x2, and this is left over from my project at the polytunnel. So I want to measure from edge to edge so I know exactly what I'm dealing with here. And it looks like we have 4.5 minus 1/8. 4.5. Okay, so it's rectangular. Yep, 4.5 minus 1/8. 4.5. Okay, so I'm going to write that down. 4.5 and 4.5 minus 1/8. Okay, so I'm now going to have to miter this so that you can see exactly how this works. And for that, I'm going to be using this miter box with the saw. Useful little piece of kit, not my favorite. So in order to miter this to make it look nice and flush and clean, when you're boxing anything in, you're always going to go for a 45-degree cut. And so as the saw goes into the miter box, you can see the angle in which it's going to be cut. Now the first cut is going to be, I'm not measuring, I'm just kind of picking a spot on my box here, and I'm just going to saw this through, and then I'm going to show you exactly how I'm going to be measuring, okay? Now, I don't need this much. I want to try to save as much of this as possible, so I'm going to slide it down a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to start sawing. Okay, so the cut's been made. You can see how it's created this nice angle. So what's going to be happening is I'm going to be doing this, okay, creating kind of like a box that's going to be going around the circumference. It's not really a circle, but around the edge, we'll just say. So my first measurement is going to be with this smaller cut. I apologize if there's any wind interference with my microphone because there's a bit of a gust going on out there. But my first measurement is going to be happening with the smaller piece. And I'm going to start my measurement here, okay, at this first cut. And we said that the first, I'm going to do the bigger sides first. And we said was about 4, I'm glad I wrote it down, 4.5 inches. Okay. So I'm going to mark one side, mark the other. I'm going to take my T-square. You guys have seen me do this a million times. Huh. Okay. Make sure that it's perfectly lined up. Okay. Now this is going to be the inside, but going in the opposite direction. So I'm going to do a 45-degree cut. It's not going to go outwards like that. It's going to go outwards like that. So that means I'm going to position. Let me see if I can show you guys. Bring the camera around here. Okay. The mark is right here. Okay, so it's lining up with the 45-degree angle. So when I put my saw in, sorry about that, it's going to go like this. Okay, so the saw blade is going to be lining up with the marker on the inside. All right, I'm going to get at this. So I'm going to show you what they all look like when I'm finally done, because this is a process. And I just kind of want to get this whole miter thing done and out of my life. All right, so I've put the newel post in between these slats here and tightened it up. It's not perfectly straight, but what is? So all 4 pieces are cut, and this is the idea right here. Okay, that all these pieces are going to come together. And they're going to be around the base like this. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to secure this directly to the newel post. And I think with this, I'm going to be using my hydraulic nailer. Yes, good fun. I love a good nail gun. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do next. Make sure that it's nice and straight. Oops. Now, I think these might just be tacking it in place. So I've got some deck screws, and I'm going to Also put some deck screws in this just to make it more secure. Okay. So there we have the top edge of this. Now, as I said before when I was showing you, the idea is that from each one of these sides, I'm going to have a leg that comes out like this, okay? Or maybe I'll do it on the corners. Yeah, I'll probably do it on the corners. That'd probably make more sense. So I'm gonna do probably a 25-degree cut on these edges using the miter box. Oh God, I have to use that thing again. Never mind. And I'll have 4 legs coming out from each corner. Now, I'll have 1 leg coming out from each corner, not 4 legs. That would look ridiculous. Okay, so I'm going to make those cuts, and for that, I have, I went out and I got a few more of these 1 or 2 by 2 by 8s, same type of lumber that I used for the polytunnel. So I don't think I'm going to make this obelisk 8 feet tall. I think that would be a little overpowering. So I'll probably go for, oh, I don't know, maybe about 6 feet. All right. So I'm going to make these cuts, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. So this is what I've got so far. So that box, if you recall, I don't know if you recall or not, but this box here originally had the the tree limb obelisk going up. So I emptied out all the compost, and obviously there wasn't any structure left, so the base just came right up. So I've affixed these legs to the base. Okay. And here's the newel post. I know it's kind of hard to see. I mean, the plan is to paint this white so that it really, really pops. But this isn't done yet. The next thing I need to do is I need to consider cross-bracing this so that it's extra sturdy. And then finally, I've got some rails that I want to install on each side so that whatever I'm growing underneath it, which will always be the Grandpa Ott Morning Glory, will have something to grab onto. So that's the next step. I'm pleased so far. It's looking good. So for the cross bracing, I'm going to be using 1 by 2, and I have a few 8-foot lengths of this. So what I'm going to do is at each section of the obelisk where I want to put a cross brace, I'm just going to measure from pole to pole, and I'm going to go right around. Now, am I going to miter the edges? No. No, I am not. I'm going to trust that I'm going to be really precise on how I've measured it. It may look a little rustic, but you know, that's what gives it character. So I'm going to get these all measured out. I'm going to use my nail gun. I'm going to fix them exactly where I want them to be, and then I'll show you what that looks like when I'm done. All right, I have all the cross bracing in. You know, I'm looking at this and it looks like one of those buoys, you know, that you'd see out in the lake, and there's a, you know, the bell hanging down and it dings, which, how appropriate is that? This is the Lake Effect Garden after all. Okay, so the last part of this is going to be the railings, and I think what I'll do is I'm going to do 1 main railing, and then I'll do 2 smaller on either side. So there'll be 3 railings on each side for a total of 12 railings. The middle one will be the longest, and then the 2 on the side will be shorter. Okay, I'm gonna get that in, and I'm gonna show you what that looks like when it's done. Just so you know, I did first tack everything in with my gun, my nail gun, and then once everything was tacked in, I used deck screws. This isn't gonna go anywhere, okay? If the wind decides it wants to take it down, it's gonna probably take half the garden with it, so it's looking good so far. I'm pleased. All right, guys, I decided to, instead of showing you what it looked like outside of the garage, I thought I would put it in place and give you guys a look at what it looks like in its final resting place. So, as you're walking into the garden, you see what used to be the area for the obelisk, I've now gotten a smaller planter made out of concrete. Perfect size. I can get the mower around there. And there's Buddha. I apologize if there's any wind interference. It is a little gusty today. And as you turn the corner, ooh. Haha. Now, I'm really happy how it turned out. I'm going to paint this white. And when I do that, you'll be able to see the newel post a lot better. The newel post is so much darker than the actual wood itself that it's kind of being drowned out by the lighter wood. So I will paint it white. I'm going to wait for a longer stretch of dry, mild weather to do that. And then I also have to level and kind of dig out the area because it's a bit of a hill. So I think it turned out really, really nice. I cannot wait to see it just festooned with morning glories. It's going to look glorious. I'm all about a focal point. I love the focal points. Let's take a look at what it may look like as I'm leaving the shed. Ooh. Oh, how about we take a look at it as I'm leaving the polytunnel? Ah. Oh, it's a little crooked right now, as I say, because I need to get that land underneath it nice and level. We're going to do one more. Oh, boy. Ah. Oh boy, it turned out great. I'm very pleased. So, yes, this is going to look amazing. Painted white and filled with flowers. I'm really happy. I really am. This is my second upcycle video. I would like to do a lot more for you guys. If you really enjoyed this, please let me know in the comments box below what you found interesting, if you have any questions, things like that. Remember that I really didn't make any plans for these. Well, I didn't make any plans, and there weren't any really plans, although I didn't really look. This was something completely born up here, so the creative, imaginative minds that we have can really create really interesting and useful things. So, newel post, brand new life, has a second life to live, and I have a really, really cool story about it when everybody sees it. I hope you guys take a chance and do things like this. It doesn't matter what the object is that you find, there's always something you can do with it. You just have to kind of sit and think about it for a little bit. And think about what you may need, because some of the best ideas, as they say, necessity is the mother of invention. So this one certainly was, and I hope to enjoy it for many years to come. So that's about it from me. It's beautiful today. It's about 70 degrees. I've got my shorts on. It's gorgeous. It's a little breezy. We are due some snow on Thursday, going into Friday morning. They're calling for accumulating snow too, but as it goes, they'll, always create these huge, not controversies, but, these dramatic scenarios where we're going to get 6 inches of snow and then we end up getting nothing. But we did have some snow yesterday, so welcome to the pendulum that is spring weather here in Buffalo. One day it snows and we're all bundled up. I wore long johns to school yesterday. Today, I'm in shorts. There we have it. I hope you're all well. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll be back really, really soon to probably get stuck in turning those beds over in the garden. I got a couple done. It was backbreaking, but I did get a lot of the roots out of both the old cucumber bed and the partial portion of the old brassica bed, which is that portion of the garden where I'm going to be planting my sweet corn. I do also have my strawberry plants that are going to be coming to me very, very soon. And I'll probably have a lot more to show you come next week because I'm on vacation. It's spring break. So you know what that means. Buckle up, Buttercup. You're going to get some videos. So take care. Enjoy what you do. Enjoy the weather. I'll see you all really, really soon. So long.